You know, we're more like fifth cousins, somewhere way, way, way down the road. And we're simply going to talk sports. So, you know, we came up with the idea of sports just because you're with the cousins, you know?
That's true. I like that. I like that. You know, I thought it was a good idea. I thought it worked very well for this show, and we're going to have a lot. If you're into fun, if you like having fun, this show is going to be the one you like to listen to, because I don't know of any other sports talk show in this world that people have fun listening to, aside from a few.
And especially when it's broadcasted by two cousins.
Two cousins. Oh, man. So, look, we got a jam-packed show today for all you Iona collegians out there who are looking for... look, we already got people looking in here at us. They're enjoying this. We have a jam-packed show. We got some NFL talk about this week 2 in the NFL, which was a very non-eventful week if you're looking at the first week with the whole Ray Rice situation and Roger Goodell. And then Armand and I are going to go into our prediction and analysis, well, actually end analysis, because we will be doing that for the Bears and Jets. So we'll be coming on in what, an hour and 45 minutes from now?
Yes.
All right, so Armand. I love the name Armand. I must say.
It's a very unique name, I know.
I love the name Armand. I don't, you know, it's a unique name, and you know, I just have to be honest. Transparency is going to be one major thing on this show for me.
Thank you for liking my name.
Okay. Football this weekend. You are a condoner of the Dolphins.
Yes.
Miami
unfortunately,
Dolphins.
Yes, I am.
Unfortunately, wow. Why unfortunately?
Because the expectations for Miami football this year were a little bit better than they are right now. Right now, I had them honestly going 2-1. I had them losing to the Patriots, but knocking off the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's been a very weird season for Miami football.
Right, you had them losing to New England, which was an upset.
Oh yeah,
but that whole game was based off the fact no Sean Moreno could run.
Oh yeah, he ran for 140 yards, and the fact that the defense was the foothold of the team. You know, they only gave up 25 total yards to Tom Brady, arguably one of the best this game's ever seen.
Right. Okay, so that's right there. But in the book, that's considered what we like to call an upset.
Yes.
Then they come back and they lose to Buffalo, which was an upset.
Destroyed.
Which, listen, Buffalo's
looking good.
Buffalo's looking good. E.J. Manuel is, you know, he's developing as a quarterback, but I don't think it was it was a sure thing that the Dolphins would lose that game.
No, it wasn't. It was a testament to Ryan Tannehill's struggle, especially on the road, which when he goes against the Buffalo Bills, who he hasn't beaten in the last 2 years now. He lost 3 straight meetings to the Buffalo Bills. So Ryan Tannehill, he has a problem expanding his range outside the pocket. Completions over 15 yards a game, he does not do very well. And he could not break down the Buffalo defense. That pass rushers get into him, and Tannehill, he looks like a rookie out there.
Right.
And there's a lot of expectations for Ryan Tannehill now going into his 3rd season. This is the year where he's supposed to bring them to the playoffs.
Right. And Ryan Tannehill, as you said, he's lacking. He's lacking of what he's supposed to become at this point.
Exactly.
So the Dolphins come out this weekend. They come out against the Chiefs team without Jamal Charles.
And without a lot of injuries on that defense. Derrick Johnson's gone. They lost their I don't know the other guy's name, but he's on the defensive line who was gone. Right. So I mean, they should have been able to tear apart this struggling Chief defense.
To clarify the importance of somebody like Jamal Charles.
Jamal Charles not being on the field.
Jamal Charles was he was in the top 3 leading rushers last year. I believe he took that regular season
the rushing title. I think so. No. LaShawn McCoy did.
LaShawn McCoy, okay, yeah. But he was top 3.
He was right there though. Yep.
Absolutely top 3, and I believe he was leading for a while. And Jamal Charles, they give it up to Niall Davis,
the backup, who had like 30 rushes for 130 yards.
Right, second string. So that's a problem.
It was a lot of, when I was watching the game, there was a lot of question around the defensive play calling by the Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator, in which they would blitz their middle linebackers and their right outside linebacker, dropping back Cameron Wake, who is one of the best pass rushers in the National Football League. Why would you blitz, especially in the open field on 3rd down and 8, and leave a slot receiver wide open, which would happen many times? against that Dolphin defense because they left the field wide open.
Right.
So
Well, you know what? I could attribute that partially to the fact that EJ Manuel's not a pocket passer.
Well, no, I'm talking about in the Chief game.
You're talking about
Alex Smith this week.
You're talking about this week.
Yeah, this week.
Oh, okay.
Because we were talking about Niles
Right.
Davis and Jamal Charles.
Right. You're talking about this
week.
And all right, Alex.
Well, no, the what I was trying to say is that why would you drop Cameron Wake and not let him rush the quarterback? He's not a coverage. He's a lineman. You're not going to make him drop back. And Jared Oderick, who's the other outside lineman, would drop back in coverage too. And bringing all the linebackers back, dropping the lineman. I don't like that.
Right.
And the Dolphins play a lot of man-to-man coverage, especially in the slots, backing off like 10 yards, and it gives them a lot of room to maneuver in the spread offense. So
Okay.
the field is wide open in the middle when you play against Miami.
Yeah. And well, you know what? Another thing with the fact that when you're planning a game against, let's say, a team like the Chiefs,
Who they should have knocked off. Yeah.
Right. You're planning for. Listen, Alex Smith is not the best quarterback in the
No,
league.
he's a smart quarterback.
Okay. He is a smart quarterback, but he exploited those holes.
Oh yeah.
Obviously that.
They weren't hard throws. They were just regular slot throws where the slot receiver come by in the middle, wide open, 10-yard pass. Just got to hit him, and he'll make the big play with his feet, and which Alex Smith did. He did the easy part.
Right. So the Dolphins go on and lose, and they're now 1-2 on the season. And if there's any upside, who's their Week 4 opponent? We know that right.
The Oakland Raiders, who
Raiders
have no excuse of losing to.
Right.
I'm sorry.
If there's any upside, it's against the Oakland Raiders.
Yes.
So let's just
in
hope,
London.
Right. Let's just hope that the Dolphins can get it together, because you know what, they came out of the gates against the Patriots looking like a playoff team.
Exactly.
Looking like a playoff team. So okay, so as we've now figured out that Armand is he's a favorite of the Dolphins, I would have to say that in my own weekend I was very much concentrated on Big Blue, and I was very much concentrated on the fact that we were hoping, as many Giants fans were hoping, that this team could pull themselves out of the slide they were in, an 0-2 slide. So believe it or not, but the Giants coming into the season, being 0-2, were in a worse position than the Dolphins, because the Dolphins had a win under their belts.
Yes.
So the Giants take the field, and in their first 2 possessions, in the red zone, mind you, they make 2 crucial mistakes. Yeah, they look like they were going to lose that game. Now, a bad snap leads to a missed field goal opportunity, and then in the other instance, Larry Donnell goes and fumbles in the red zone. I believe he was at the 5, or he was about to break the plane, and he goes and fumbles. So the Giants and Eli Manning could have easily been shaken. But the one thing that Eli Manning is known for is maintaining composure when the team is stressing him out, and that's happened all through last season and into this season. I'm not saying it hasn't always been his fault. It has been his fault sometimes. But Eli Manning did something that every person of a team, fan of a team, would love to see their quarterback do, and that is compose the team and bring the team together. And he started scoring touchdowns. Throws a touchdown pass to Victor Cruz. Victor Cruz' first touchdown pass at MetLife Stadium since 2012. Can you believe that?
Well, if you have him on your fantasy team, I hope you start him, because that's one of the best opportunities Victor Cruz didn't get this season. I don't see Victor Cruz being consistent. I'm sorry. He's not an elite receiver in my eyes. He had a good game.
Look, I'm sure me and you are going to disagree a lot of times on this show, but one time I have to agree with you, because Victor Cruz is one of the reasons why nobody scares me on that set of receivers. Janelle Jernigan.
I like Ruben Randall.
Ruben Randall's all right, but listen to me. Is there anybody?
No, he's the best.
Is there a Jimmy Graham? Is there a Rob Gronkowski?
There's nobody like that.
Is there a Calvin Johnson? Is there a Megatron? There's nobody.
Victor Cruz has those expectations, though, in the Giants franchise.
Right,
so.
But he hasn't been meeting them. Okay, he had no touchdown. He had no touchdowns last year. Can you believe that? At MetLife Stadium, and I don't believe he had any touchdown passes overall last season. Any touchdown catches?
Did he get a touchdown the other game? Yesterday?
This past game, he scored a touchdown.
All right, so I'm sure.
You know what?
Yeah, a couple touchdowns
week
last
year.
Week
Since week 4, I believe it was, or either week 4 or week 6 of last year was the last time he scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
So when I meant was at MetLife. He hasn't had a touchdown all last season. Not since 2012 at MetLife.
Well, the Giants were pretty bad on offense last year. Eli Manning had one of his worst statistical years of his career.
Right. So, listen, you got to be happy as a Giants fan that this team was able to definitely pick it up, and they kept on rolling with the Antrell Roll interception.
The Giants' defense looks superb.
Yes.
But, I mean, you're playing Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has not been notably known throughout the past for succeeding, especially with his days with the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
And he had great receivers back then. When he had Lee Evans, Stevie Johnson, he made nothing about it. And
right.
Now, do you think this was a defining win for the New York Giants? Do you see them going somewhere with this win?
No, not at all, because you know why? You just brought up a great point. Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Houston Texans are not a team that it's a team you should beat.
This team you should beat, but defensively the Texans are arguably probably top 10 best in the league.
That's because of Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt, but I don't even believe Clowney played.
Brian Cushing's good, the middle linebacker. They have some good guys in secondary. Jonathan Joseph, great zone corner.
Right. Which is a good argument.
Eli Manning played a great game. I mean, he didn't kill you with stats. He threw for 250 yards?
Yeah, 250.
But his completion rate was great. I think he threw, what did he throw? 21 for 28 for 234 yards.
Right.
That's great numbers for Eli. No turnovers.
Exactly. And that's one thing you want to make sure with Eli. He has a good game if he's not turning the ball over.
Well, the thing is, they also had caught the Texan defense by surprise with the little play action. Then they had a couple draws because Rashad Jennings was killing them on the ground. Now, this guy had a great game. What do you have? 26 attempts for... What's the number here? 34 carries for 176 yards.
Rashad Jennings was the key offense. I must say, even though we're talking so much about Eli Manning's good game, he was the key offensive component in the win. Rashad Jennings, what he did with the running game, allowed Eli Manning to open things up for him a little bit, and
kept the defense guessing.
Right, kept the defense guessing, and Eli Manning was able to complete some of these passes. But you have to credit the job. You're right. You have to credit the job Rashad Jennings did.
Unfortunately, throughout the season, if the Giants were to slip into the playoffs, I feel more of the load will rely on the Giant defense rather than the Giant offense. I think the Giant defense has potential to bring this team back to the playoffs rather than the offense. They have to win games more like 17-13. I don't see them blowing teams out of the water with, if they play the Lions, they have to play a defensive football game against the Lions. They won't beat them in a shootout.
Yeah.
Because the Giant offense, they're learning a new system, the West Coast offense, which is hard for a team to learn.
Right, Ben McAdoo is trying to impose that on this team.
I mean, I like it. I think they could do it.
And I have to be honest with you. What I've seen from Ben McAdoo so far hasn't wowed me, because I've seen games, I believe it was week 2, against, I believe it,
week 2, they played the Lions week 1.
Right, week 1 was the Lions. Week 2...
The Cardinals, which
right.
have arguably the best defensive football besides the Seahawks. So.
They went to the same high fade in the corner of the end zone 2 plays in a row.
Oh.
Did you see that?
That was against the Lions.
That was against the Lions. That was
3 times in a row.
3 times in a row.
The first and the second down. The fourth down, they went back and they got it.
You were relying on
a rookie.
Yeah, but that was on. They tried the other end of the end zone.
But it's still the fade corner.
Right, but at least they smartened up to change the side of the end zone they were going for.
So.
But they were trying for, physical superiority right there with the matchup. You can't go 3 times in a row. You're not fooling anybody.
Well, especially right when they got to the 1 yard line, what they did was they ran up the middle like most teams would do, and that didn't work. I would have attempted again. You don't throw a fade route at the 1 yard line. They were at the 1 or the 2 yard line.
Right.
That's a hard play for at the 1 or the 2 yard line. Throw a pitch or something. Run up the gut. I mean,
right.
I would throw a fade maybe at the 7 yard line or the 6, not the 1 or the 2.
Now you're mentioning this Giants offense. This Giants offense hasn't scored over 28 points in a long time. I'll tell you that much. This Giants offense has been stagnant for a long time. Now I must disagree with you one thing. I think that the Giants offense has the ability, even though, listen, nobody scares me on that team. Nobody is going to be on that offense like a Megatron. It's just not going to happen. Some teams don't have that one player. But you know what? I believe they have the ability to be a very good offense if they can play as a team on the same page offensively.
I think it starts with the run, if anything. I think Rashad Jennings, if you give him 25 carries a game, I think he'll give you 100 yards.
Right. But you don't always have to have the best player in the league.
The other thing is, I don't think Eli Manning throwing 21 for 28 attempts, that's great.
No,
28 attempts is great. If you put Eli Manning in a situation where he has to throw 40 or more attempts, he's bound for a couple turnovers. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean,
20
does turn
between
the ball
20 and
over.
30 attempts is good for Eli because I feel like he's not in a strenuous state.
Right. Well, the Giants look ahead to week 4 here.
All I'm going to say about that week 4 game against the Redskins
which is
Thursday.
Quick
if they
turnaround.
lose Thursday, this win was for nothing because this win is almost the turning point for their season. I feel like if they go to 2-2 and they can win against a division rival on the road, the Giants might be saying some things about where their future lies this season.
Well, I think if they beat the Redskins this Thursday, that's the turning point.
On the road, too.
On the road. Against Kirk Cousins, who's been on fire.
Yes.
Kirk Cousins has been nothing less than great. I mean, especially without RG3 in the starting lineup, Kirk Cousins has been. Look, you can't complain if you're a Redskins fan right now.
No, they're playing good football. I mean, their
They've been dealing
record,
with
they're
some-
1-2, but they're playing tough games. Played
Yeah.
great against the Texans week 1. Week 2, they destroyed the Jaguars, which any team would.
Right.
And week 3, they played a great game against the
No.
Eagles, a shootout.
You can't complain about Kirk Cousins right now if
No.
you're a Redskins fan, because he's doing basically everything and probably more than RG3 has done all last season.
Oh yeah, 427 yards, 3 touchdowns, unbelievable game.
Right. So we had a couple more interesting games for Sunday. I know there was a rematch of the Super Bowl of last year between the Seahawks and the Broncos, and which the Seahawks stuck it to the Broncos once again.
I tell you one thing, the Bronco defense looked so good the whole game. But then once the game went to overtime, Peyton Manning had that unbelievable drive, that 80-yard drive in 45 seconds. The Seahawks got a first down every time. Every time. No hesitation. They would be 3rd and 1, they get the first down easily. And they would just do these play actions. They would do this spread where the receiver would come across for the delayed handoff and would in. They would throw it across field. I mean, they kept the Broncos defense guessing. The Broncos defense, if they're good like that every game, I feel like the Broncos could go back to the Super Bowl.
I mean, listen. I think that in the division they're in with the likes of the 49ers and
Wait, you're talking about the Seahawks now?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, because the Broncos are in the other division.
No, I'm talking about the Seahawks.
Oh, you're talking about Seahawks,
Yeah.
okay.
In the division the Seahawks are in, the 49ers, I think that they have the ability to go to the Super Bowl again. Okay? Hands down. Because the 49ers are right now, they're falling.
Yeah, I think they're falling, but you got to watch out for the Cardinals. I mean, Drew Stanton's had a couple of 2 good games, but he's not the answer for them. And when Carson Palmer comes back, he needs to be the starter again if this team wants to make any noise.
Right. But when I'm looking at the Broncos, I don't see the same fear as I have if I'm facing the Seahawks. I don't. I feel like Peyton Manning, look, he's not getting any younger, and I understand if he can put together another solid season, that's all you could ask for. But I mean, Monte Ball,
No, I don't like him.
he's going to be respectable, but I don't know if you're going to get the same production as you did out of
Doesn't
No
cover up the
Moreno.
ball. No, Sean Moran wouldn't fumble
Yeah,
as
he
much.
fumbled the ball.
Monte Ball, he tries to do too many things with his feet, and he
Yeah,
gets blindsided. He doesn't cover the football up good.
exactly.
Payton's got no time for that stuff. He'll lecture him out on the sidelines.
What she did to Julius Thomas.
Yeah.
Boy.
Julius Thomas.
Julius
He didn't
Thomas.
sleep well that night.
That was
I'll
a
tell you.
couple of weeks ago, but you got to respect that out of Peyton Manning. That he is a silent leader, but right there he was vocal.
yeah.
But what I was going to say is they lost Eric Decker. You know, I feel like they didn't really improve this offseason.
Well,
I feel like they didn't really they lost Antonio Rogers-Cromartie.
Dominique.
I'm sorry, Dominique Rogers-Cromartie to the Jets. I mean
The Giants.
The Giants. I'm sorry, falling asleep over here.
Falling asleep over here. No, but I think they made moves for the better, honestly. I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one.
Alright.
They brought in DeMarcus Ware, veteran leader. TJ Ward from Cleveland. Great pickup. Great zone coverage guy. Can hit the ball real well down in the flats. Watches everything. And then they brought Aqib Talib over mid last year. Great man corner. I mean, they made a lot of good moves. Von Miller's back. He's staying under good conduct this year. Hasn't had any problems yet. Last year he had suspension problems. They got good stuff going on.
I think their defense improved greatly. I mean,
They played
honestly,
really,
I do.
They played really good defensively against the Seahawks. All 4 quarters, just overtime. They regressed horribly.
And they didn't have a bad defense last year, but they definitely, I think they upgraded.
They improved. Yeah.
But can you really say the same for the offense?
No,
I
mean,
wouldn't say the offense improved. And
if anything, they're having a slower start than last year. Last year, Eli Manning threw 9 touchdowns in the first 3 games.
You mean Peyton?
Peyton Manning threw 9. He threw something crazy in the first 3 games.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, he struggled against the Seahawks again. Seahawks just have his number.
Well, yeah, that's a matchup that's hard because the Seahawks have one of the
I do
best
like
defenses.
Emmanuel Sanders as I think he fits the role better than Decker did because Decker was the other receiver on the other side. You had Demarius, and then you have Welker in the slot. Emmanuel Sanders is quicker. But Decker's got better hands, so I think Emmanuel Sanders is a better vertical threat for this offense. But Decker, I mean, it's all a matter of perspective, what kind of receiver you like. You know what I mean?
Right. All right, so, I mean, when we're looking at the landscape of all these games, probably the most noticeable was the 49ers game against the Cardinals, I would say.
Despicable.
The Broncos Seahawks made a case for the most notable game, but I think the 49ers Cardinals game, in which Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers had
lose to Drew Stanton.
They had it won, and if you look at early in that game, you got to remember that the Cardinals, they're in a I should say the 49ers, they're in a very loud atmosphere there at the University of Phoenix Stadium, and the Cardinals are now 3-0.
Yeah.
They're 3-0. The 49ers are
solely based on that defense. That Cardinal defense is
right,
playoff bound right there.
Really good. And Kaepernick, listen, he was moving the ball down the field the first half. I mean, he's doing what Colin Kaepernick does, moving outside the pocket, running.
That's the problem I have with Colin Kaepernick.
What
he needs
problem?
to stay in the pocket more, and because what happens when he tries to run, he doesn't see everything that's going on downfield. I know Anquan Bolden had a problem with this during last game because the offensive line's been struggling, but he gets swarmed in the pocket. I mean, sometimes he does have to make plays with his feet, but he needs to sit back and keep his eyes downfield because sometimes his first mindset that comes to him is he wants to run. Now, he had 13 carries. That's a lot for a quarterback. Even scrambling quarterbacks, at most they scramble 5 times a game. 13 carries, he's basically a running back. He's missing a lot of open targets downfield, man. I'm telling you.
I agree. Listen,
Bolton was letting him have it.
I think that when you make that case, you're kind of taking away from what makes him so good.
No,
Colin Kaepernick has the ability to move outside the pocket and complete passes. He can run and throw.
When you're running outside the pocket, you're looking around. You're looking at who's swarming you. You're not looking downfield at that point. Once you get outside the pocket, then you can look downfield because you don't have to. Everyone else is behind you at this point or in front of you. They're not coming from the sides of you because you're already out in the flats. The only way they can come from you is from the left or the right, depending on which side you're on. So he needs to get his QB vision up. He needs to work on that.
All right. I mean, listen. I mean, generally, I think that what makes him so good is the fact that
he can make plays.
I understand what you're saying.
It's part of his game, but
yeah, I understand what you're saying. But the problem comes in when you have basically, we're in the second quarter. There's 9 minutes remaining. Colin Kaepernick avoids a sack on 3rd down. It brings it to 4th and 1, and this is not the problem yet. They convert on a very key play. But then what happens is Carlos Hyde gives San Francisco.
I like him. I think he's gonna be good.
Right, he gives him a 14-7 lead, banging into the end zone, and we haven't reached the problem yet. Everything is still running smoothly for San Francisco. Now they were taking a lot of chances as well on their 4th down. I believe they went for a lot of time.
The problem with the 49ers in this game is they get penalized way too much. There's too many. Especially on defense.
Yeah.
Let me talk about where was Harbaugh. He's got to coach these guys better, man. He's a respectable coach. He's probably one of the better coaches in the league. They had a couple roughing the passers. They had unnecessary roughness, taunting.
Yeah, we had that involved the headbutt by Bolden.
Oh my! Yeah, Bolden. I mean, they probably had easily over 100 yards in penalties, which cost them the game.
I mean, Harbaugh went over to Bolden. He had a very long conversation with him, and you could see that Bolden was trying to explain himself. But I don't know. That's inexcusable because you're costing your team the game. By headbutting the player, no matter what how he's taunting you, you're costing the team the game by doing that.
The only thing I have to give it up to for the 49ers, when they had this league, they did not turn over the ball. Now, did you watch the game last week against the Bears?
49ers Bears?
Yeah, on Sunday night.
No, I didn't see that game.
They were up comfortably in that game, and Colin Kaepernick turned the ball over 3 times inside his own 40-yard line, which set up the Bears beautifully for a touchdown opportunity.
Right.
In this game, they didn't do that. They worked the ball downfield. It's just this game was more blamed on the defense than the offense. Kaepernick played a great game. Not taking anything away from Kaepernick. I don't like all of his carries, which I already stated this before, but the defense, the penalties, their defensive backs, Drew Stanton threw for 244 yards of 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's kind of a lot for him. 244 yards for a standard quarterback's not that much, but for him, that's a lot. This guy was the backup. He was the 3rd string for the Lions about 4 or 5 years ago. behind Stafford and Sean Hill. So, I mean, this goes out blame on the defense, especially their secondary.
I think, though, that it's inexcusable for the 49ers to lose this game.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how good the Cardinals' defense is, you're still dealing with, as you said, a third-string quarterback. You're still dealing with a lead. You're dealing with a lead. The 49ers
Were they
had
at 14-0?
They were
No,
up
14-3.
14-3, and then it went to
14-6 at halftime.
Right. So
Then they didn't score a point the whole second half.
Right. They had the first half locked down with a lead, and then the second half they went stagnant. So it's inexcusable for the 49ers, and I think that it's, they need to wake themselves up because they're trying to prove themselves in a division that it's not going to be easy to win that
It's
division.
one of the most competitive in the game.
Right. So we have some more football on tab. All right. We have some more games to talk about.
Especially about the game that's taking place in about an hour and 50 minutes.
Right. So we have a discussion. We'll talk about a few more games from this past week, and our next segment we'll get to the well-awaited Bears-Jets preview for the game Monday Night Football tonight. So we're definitely gonna have a good show here.
Have a great show here.
So we will be back here, and also you have to remember that we have to remind everybody about this.
Oh, follow WICR on Facebook, YouTube, or Live 365 and Ustream.